All right, everybody. Arik Jackson here. Just choosing to do a live. So if you're joining me, I'm going to get started in just a few seconds. If not, I'll definitely be sending out this video as well. This is definitely just to let you know it's in response to all the madness going on right now. And I'm going to be taking a lot of deep breaths throughout this because this is not an easy topic for me, especially being someone who is all about doing you unapologetically, living your ultimate dream, and knowing that simply the color of my skin and the color of the skin of my brothers and sisters are the thing that's holding you back from just being having basic rights with George Floyd's situation going on. It's been hard, and I'm just gonna jump into it. For those of you who are watching, thank you for watching. I super appreciate it, and I'm just gonna keep it open and keep it real with you all. So, if you have not been seeing what's going on lately, you definitely have either not been on social media, you've had a way of not watching TV, you've had a way of just not being present to what's going on. And I'm just interested to know, like, for those of you all watching, like, type in the chat, like, one word of how all of this, what's happening from the protests to the looting to the rioting and all, like, type just one word of what space that's putting you in right now. Like, I love to hear from you all. I know some of you all are just checking in. I love to hear what you all are saying, you know. So and y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I apologize. Now, I'm not a techie when it comes to Instagram Live and all that fun stuff. You would think that I am, but my social media person, he's great at handling all of this. All right, so let me just go ahead and jump in. Y'all, these last several days have been tough. It's been tough. Just this past weekend, not this weekend, but the weekend before, I was overseeing a 4-day global virtual summit. It was amazing. It was awesome. And in the background was all of this stuff happening with the recent situation, the knee to the neck for Mr. Floyd. And I'm just, I was trying to work my way through it. I was trying to not succumb to it, because I know me. If you know anything about me, you know Art Jackson is a big open heart. When I'm around you, I tend to tap into people's energy, and this was just a lot. And I didn't think it was going to go away. I knew it wasn't. I was going to stay present to it and see everything that was going on. And just over the last several days, y'all, it's been hard. And it's been hard. Number one, just taking in everything that's happening. The fact that there is an uproar because someone just simply asked to breathe and was not given that right to do so. I have a friend of mine, he's in martial arts, and we were talking the other day, and he's a black belt, and he's like, here's what I don't understand. Being in martial arts, I know that if you're trying to restrain someone, like, a knee to the back is fine, but a knee to the neck, I don't understand that. Like, I do not understand what was the whole point behind that. And just kind of being with that and just trying to deal with it, and then also knowing that I have people who follow me, and they're probably wanting to hear what I have to say about it. So I've been sitting back, I've been thinking about it, and last night was a sleepless night because of the fact, I live in the downtown Sacramento area, and because of that, like, I heard the flash bangs and all that going on overnight, and just the sirens and the helicopters hovering over, and I'm just in Sacramento. Like, it's the size of Sacramento is nothing compared to LA. or Chicago. I mean, so just all of that. And here's what I want to give you all. I know that there are a lot of people right now who are in their feelings about it. They don't know how to process this. This is hard to process it. For all of my people who are like either in high school or college, especially if you are Black, African American, or someone of color, there may be a question of what your future will look like. Why try so hard? Why, work as hard to get half as far? And I'm going to be real, even me being as successful as I am, it took a lot of work. And sometimes I had to do double the amount of work to get half as far. And that's okay because I love what I do. That's my purpose. And that's not what this is about. But I want you to understand that people are in different spaces right now. There's anger, there's upset, there's frustration, there's sadness, there's depression, there is numbness, there is this sense of I don't know what to do, there's confusion, there's all of that. And I want you to know that there is no one way to feel right now. Don't lock yourself into thinking that just this one way you have to feel. Don't feel like that. There is no one way. There is no right way to feel about it. How you feel about it is how you feel about it. Acknowledge that, honor it, embrace it. Don't fight it. Now, for those of you where anger is there, I get it. I get it. And I say this from a standpoint of less than 5 years ago, I was speaking at a school and I'm on stage, had an amazing speech. I was the only person of color in that entire building. And it was a school where they invited the community to come out because it was a big thing to have an international speaker come to their school. And literally one of the elderly citizens of that community within earshot of mine, he says, I don't see what all the fuss is about this nigger. And y'all, when I tell you, when that was said, so much charged through my body. I wanted to snap. I wanted to go off. And it was very interesting because the lady who was talking to him, she's like, shh, well, oh, we know you're tired. Like she tried to play it off. And it was a simple reminder that racism is still present and it continues to play out. So for me, what I want to offer to everyone is how to be in these times, and I've been like writing and journaling and taking notes, and just a couple of things came up. And I think what's important now is dialogue. I think conversations are important. And I know I'm not talking about conversations with that's the community to the government and different things like that. Those definitely need to happen. And unfortunately, they have been happening. But right now, the fire is turned up on those conversations. The conversations I'm talking about are those healing conversations within your community. There's a way that you can effectively have a conversation with someone during this time as they're experiencing the hurt, the pain, the trauma, the sadness, the lack of drive. There is a way that you can be talking to someone during this time. But let me start off by saying this. First thing about conversation number one, being quiet is a loud statement. I'm going to say it again. Being quiet is a loud statement. There's something about not talking about it that will cause matters like this to grow and fester in a way. Growing up, you're taught, well, you only speak when spoken to and things like that. But now, this time, it's not time to be quiet. Because when you're quiet, whether you are Black or whether you are white, Indian, whatever you are, if you are quiet, it is a loud ass statement. It's super loud. So for those of you who are sitting back, who are just saying, I'm going to wait for things to blow over, know that you've made a statement. For those of you who aren't saying anything and just saying, well, I'm just going to not say that is not only making a statement, that is being okay with what's going on. So being quiet is a loud statement. That's the first thing that I want to put out there. The second thing I want to say is check in with your friends, your colleagues. Like, check in with them. And let me explain this. Being Black, I think a lot of my friends, my colleagues, some of my friends, many of my colleagues almost don't know how to approach me during this time. There's one of my friends, and I'm just going to shout out to him. His name is Ketrick. He's also a speaker. Love him to life. White man. And just out of the blue, he reached out and he's like, man, how are you doing with all of this? The fact that he reached out and didn't pretend like, hey, everything's all right, how are you? That he was just like, he reached out and say, hey, how are you doing with all of this? And it opened this dialogue for us to have. And the one thing that I can say, the fact that he took time to reach out to me. Look, I know there are a lot of people out there on social media sending posts, making posts. All of that is beautiful, but there is nothing like someone reaching out to you personally and checking in with you. There's nothing like it. For my white counterparts, my brothers and sisters out there, for those of you who have a friend who is Black or is being affected by this, it will make a huge difference for you to just reach out and simply say, hey, how are you doing with all of this? Now, let me also say this. You can be empathetic in a way that can foster healing. I'm going to say that again. There is a way that you can be empathetic in a way that fosters healing. Being sympathetic is just half the step. Being sympathetic is coming up and saying, oh, I am so sorry you're going through this. And that's it. That's being sympathetic. But being empathetic is saying, man, I am so sorry you're going through this. I can't say I fully understand and get what you're going through, but how can I support you? How can I be there for you? Do you just need me to be a sounding board? What do you need? How can I help you? That is being effectively empathetic. I think a lot of times people reach out, and when they reach out, they're like, oh, I'm sorry you're going through this, and that's it. No, you really want to make that difference? Be empathetic in a way where it's like, look, I can't, and I'm just going to use my friend Ketrick as an example. He was like, I cannot say I know what you're going through. I am a white man and I know that I have certain privileges going on, but I can't say that I fully get it. But how can I support you? How can I be there for you? That was huge to me. To me, it was huge because here's someone who doesn't fully understand what I'm going through or how my emotions are or what I'm experiencing, but they're taking time out. They're literally taking time out of their day, their time, to check in and ask me, how can I support you? And in our furthering conversation, he says, though I would never be in your position, it's given me some perspective on what's happening. Y'all, I don't know about you, but that's huge. That is huge. There are a lot of people out here right now who don't even, I have done a lot of emotional intelligence training and things like that. And for me to have even gone through all of that, I'm not saying it as like this big flag, hey, look at me. I'm saying it from the standpoint of having all of that training, I still can't fully process this. It's hard. It is super hard. I have a morning routine where I get up, I do a meditation, and I have a cup of coffee. I sit and I watch the TV for a few minutes, and then I get my day going. None of that happened today. I got in my cup of coffee, and then I literally sat in my front room for almost 2 hours straight. just trying to process it all, just trying to figure out what is something that I could say that could make a difference for what people are dealing with, and I can't even fully process it myself. So here's the thing, and when I say, reach out to your colleagues, don't expect them to be in a certain space. Accept them where they are. Like when you reach out to them, if they're angry, accept them where they are. If they're numb, accept them where they are. If they're confused, accept them where they are. If they're hurt, accept them where they are. If they don't even want to talk about it, accept them where they are. We're living in a society where by the nature of our skin, we're not being accepted for who we are. But yet, you have this opportunity. You have an opportunity to, for a moment, give someone the gift of feeling accepted for where they are. There's no place they have to be. There's no certain way they have to act. You just want them to be themselves. And if they are angry, like, I get it. You're angry. How can I support you? Do you just need me to talk? What do you need? And even if they tell you, I don't know what to tell you right now, accept them where they are. We live in a world where so many people are talking, but no one feels heard. And unfortunately, and that's a whole other topic with the looting and stuff, because a lot of the looting and stuff that's happening is not people out here who are out there trying to peacefully protest. There are instigators out there. There are people out there who are spray painting Black Lives Matter and this, that, and other on businesses and stuff. They're not black, and we're looking at them like, what are you doing? Like, that's not what this protest is all about. Why are you doing that? There are instigators out there. There's some numbers showing up, like in Minnesota right now, like over 80% of the people that were arrested in that for causing all of that madness and mayhem going on, they weren't even from Minnesota. They were just instigating it. And the thing that sucks, and I know if he could, Dr. King is probably rolling over in his grave, because you have a race of people who, number one, just want to be treated fairly and equally. And it takes someone to lose their life in order for light to be brought to that. And this isn't the first one. Just a couple of weeks ago, someone was taking a jog on the streets of Georgia, and somebody felt okay to pull out a gun and shoot them. There was someone who was at home in their bed. She's an EMT, and she was studying to be a nurse. And because of supposed drug charges for somebody that she supposedly knew, they got an address. They went in her house, shot her 8 times. Something is off, y'all. So you mean to tell me I can't even feel safe in my own bed? So accept people where they are. That is so what's needed. Accept people where they are. Now, I'm going to say this. Never say, I understand what you're going through, unless you truly understand what someone is going through. I think it's this nicey thing that we do, where it's like, oh my gosh, I so understand the pain that you're feeling. No, you don't. I, as a black man, and here's the thing, I'm considered, and look, I may lose some people when I say this, but at this time, it's more important to me to be authentic than make somebody feel a certain way. I, as a black man, even though I am of a fairer skin tone, I'm considered safe because I'm light skinned. However, if I'm hanging with some of my family members or someone who's of a darker complexion than me, they're oftentimes immediately seen as a threat. And here's the thing, I joke, and those of you who have seen me speak, I talk about my mom and my grandmother a lot. And I call my grandmother ARC headquarters, because she's always like, where are you? Where did you land? And this, that, and the other. And all jokes aside, I understand why my grandmother lives in a constant state of fear when I'm out here. All I'm looking to do is make a difference in the world. Simply because of the color of my skin, I may be seen a certain way. I may match a certain picture or something like that. I don't know. And I'm going to be very real with you. There are times when I have gone to speak at certain events. There's one event that I went to speak at, and where the location was compared to where my hotel was, one of the sponsors of the event, she literally asked me, what are the directions you're taking to get back to your hotel? I told her. I was like, well, these are the directions, blah, 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 blah. She said, don't go that way. I'm like, okay, is there road construction or something? She said, no. These instructions are taking you through this small town, and I'm telling you now, you just being who you are, Black, they're going to find some reason to pull you over. And I'm thinking to myself, what? The fact that I, as a Black man, to have one of my brothers, and here's the thing, I love everyone. If you look at my colleagues, if you look at my friend base, you'll understand I love everybody. I love humanity, period. But let's also understand that loving humanity and living in a society where certain people within that humanity deem it that other people are not worthy or are always causing trouble, it's a different experience. So if one of my colleagues, let's say one of my friends, he's Indian, one of my best friends, he's Indian, and he says to me, I truly understand what you're going through. No, you don't. No, you don't. Have you been in a position where you got a lot of questioning from a police officer simply because your taillight was out? Personal experience. Like literally, that traffic stop over a busted taillight. And it wasn't even busted. The tail light bulb in it just went out. Because of that, it was 35 minutes. And I don't know if he was looking for something on me, but that whole entire time I was nervous. Why should I be nervous around people who are here to serve and protect the community? So, unless you truly understand it, don't go to your friend and say, oh, I truly understand what you're going through. No, you don't. So just own that where you are. And it goes back to that, how can I support you? Ask that question. Look, I don't fully know what you're going through. How can I support you? How can I be there for you? I'm going to say this. There are a lot of people who are jumping to this statement when they hear Black Lives Matter. They're instantly jumping to, but all lives matter. Listen, let's get something straight. I agree, all lives matter. However, when there is people who, when you look through history, and mind you, the history books don't reflect everything that we've been through as a race, when historically we have been treated a certain way, even with peaceful protests, water hoses, dogs sicked on us. You want to start to ask yourself, why is that? When it comes to Black Lives Matter, let me put it this way. And I was thinking about this. I'm like, how could I break it down for someone who just feels some type of way? Let's say that there was an earthquake. Okay, I'm going to stick with me. There was an earthquake. And there were 10 people outside, right outside of a hospital. The earthquake shook the building, glass shattered, this, that, and the other. And there were about 5 people who were cut deeply by the glass. They're bleeding heavily, they're bleeding hard, and then you have a couple of people who have a couple of scratches or maybe twisted their ankle. When the doctors come out to see those 10 people, they're looking for the ones who are hurting the most, the ones who are bleeding the most. And if they see you have a little cut that's just going to take like some alcohol peroxide and a couple of bandages, it's not that you don't matter. It's that they are going out there to take care of the people who need it the most. And right now, if you don't get that, Black Lives Matter and we need the most support right now, then something, it's not that we're saying we matter the most and you don't know. And as a matter of fact, if you're someone who's questioning, well, I don't understand like what the whole thing is. I mean, all lives matter. You want to ask yourself, why are you even feeling some type of way that a group of people who are consistently being mistreated and for whatever reason, the system doesn't work out in their favor, but you show up and everything works out in your favor, but because you got a little boo-boo, you don't matter all of a sudden. That's where it's time for you to do some self-reflection. In this period, during this period, I think there's a time for all of us to do self-reflection. But if the fact that you hear Black Lives Matter insults you, make you feel some type of way, I'm just gonna say it. It's time to do a checkup from the neck up, because that's like narcissistic. That is you not caring about the other people. You know, a colleague of mine, Kyle, he wrote a post and he was talking about how, you know, he was picking some cherries and this, that, and the other, and how where he was picking them, he really wasn't supposed to be picking them. Like, it was, if you know Kyle, he's like, love him, big jokester. But then he goes on to say, I had a moment where I realized if I was Black or one of my Black counterparts was doing this, and if they were caught, they would be approached totally different. He's like, and he's a white male, he said, there's been times when I've been able to joke with the police. I've been able to joke with the police and get out of a ticket. But it makes me start to wonder, if one of my Black counterparts were doing that, would they be able to joke? No. So y'all, when we say Black Lives Matter, it's not saying that everyone in humanity does not matter. What it is saying is that the Black lives are being hurt during this time, and we need some support. And when I say we need some support, this is not like a handout. It's not that. The biggest support that you could give if you are not Black is shine some light on the awareness of what is really happening and going on. How some things are just systemic. Some things are built and ingrained into this. It was just 60 years ago when we were allowed to vote. We've come a long way, but we still got a long way to go. Let me talk about, and I spoke about it briefly, the rioting and the looting and all of this. One of the things I know, and I know people personally who are protesting, and it's a peaceful protest. Let's be very clear about something. When it comes to media, the most entertaining things are going to be the things that are put on to keep people coming to that channel, to keep back with y'all, is to keep people coming back. Right now, a lot of, am I still with y'all? Can y'all still see me? I just want to make sure y'all can still see me. Can you still see me? Can you still see me? I hope I didn't lose y'all. I see I still got 13 or so here. So, thank you. There's a lot, you're seeing a lot of negative things that are happening. And I know that they're happening. I'm not dumb. I know that there's looting and there's rioting and all of that. What is not being seen right now? A lot of what is not being seen right now are the peaceful protests. Are the protests where the police officers of that community are taking off their helmets, they're putting down their batons, and they're marching with the citizens of that community. What you're not seeing is people who are taking time to look out for each other. Now, I'm going to say this. If you choose to protest, go for it. All I ask is that you be safe. And all I ask is that you be prepared. What do I mean by be prepared? If you're going to go protest, let somebody know where you're going. Make sure you all have worked out a system. Hey, this is the number that I call. If I call you and you don't hear anything from me, know that something is going down. Hey, this is the money I want you to pull out in order to bail me out. Hey, this is probably where they're going to take me. Like, you want to do it smart. Do it in a way to where you're taken care of, your family is taken care of. And when I say your family is taken care of, it is almost, and hear me all the way out when I say this, so don't take half of what I'm gonna say and don't fully hear me all the way out. It is almost irresponsible to go protest without having someone important in your life knowing what and when and where you are doing it. Because you are going, in a time like this, you're going to cause more grief, more stress, more unnecessary stress when you just pick up and you're like, I'm going to protest. I'm not saying don't protest, go for it, but plan it. If I was to go protest in the next few minutes, I know exactly who I would call. I know the people that I would call. I would know, like, my best friend here. I'd be like, look, this is how you get to this debit card. This is my PIN number. This is what you need. Keep your phone open because I'm going to be gone from this time to this time. If something changes, I'll let you know. So that way, if for whatever reason I'm looked at and I'm blamed for not protesting accordingly, I have a system in place. I don't want people in my life stressing out. I don't want to cause that hurt to my grandmother, to have her wondering if I'm okay because she's already stressed out about it enough. If you want to protest, go for it. Listen, that is your right. All I'm asking is just take 2, 3, not even 5 minutes to reach out to people and say, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. And if they want to go into, you shouldn't be doing that. Look, I understand you feel that way, but I just need you to know this is what I'm going to do. And I need to make sure that if something happens to me, I'm taken care of. Here's the other thing that I want to say. While you're out there, if you notice that people are not being peaceful and they're intentionally starting stuff, you have your camera, record it. Because what's starting to come out in social media, which is what, I know, like with the smartphones and everything, like a lot of people say like we're disconnected and to some degrees, yeah, we use social media in a way where somebody is sitting right next to me. Why would I text that person instead of actually talking to them? But then also with social media, I think it's also important because we can now capture things that the media is not putting out there. I have seen people who are not black go bust out some windows. And you literally see people who are part of the Black Lives Matter movement standing around saying, stop, why are you doing that? That's not what we're about. Get that on video so the world can know. I think there's this sad thread of thought right now that what the media puts out is the end all be all. That is, I have no slight against media. They have some great information out there, but let's be real, everything is not reported. And 9 times out of 10, what's going to be reported is the very thing that's going to keep the ratings up, that's going to keep you on their television station. So if you go protest, do it powerfully. Do it powerfully. Get yourself centered, take some breathing, do some breathing before you go out there. Get yourself centered, go out there and protest, and don't let someone provoke you into doing something that's going to go against what we're really standing for right now. Last thing I want to say, and this is something that I've had to deal with all this week. If you have people in your life who you know may even at some point being possibly affected by this, whether they are Black, whether they are not Black, but maybe they're married to someone who is, or, have a mixed family, hear what I'm about to say. Don't act as if things are business as usual. I'm going to say that again. Don't act as if things are business as usual. Here's what I mean by that. This week, I've had to put on a brave face. I've had to put on a smile. Has it been hard? Absolutely, because while people are still expecting me to handle things, do this, take care of that email, handle this, do that, in the back of my mind, this whole situation is going on. Don't approach your friends like everything is okay. It's not. It's not. And the truth of the matter is, it goes back to what I said earlier. If you're just joining me, when you communicate with people, communicate in a way where it's effective. Hey, I can't say I fully understand what you're going through, but how can I support you? Acknowledge that something is going on. I love my neighbors. But I got a text message earlier today and I couldn't even respond to it. Every Sunday they do courtyard bingo. Love them for it. And they sent out a reminder, text reminder. Courtyard bingo starting at 2:30. And I just kind of chuckled. And I'm like, I can't even think about no dang on courtyard bingo right now. Because my brothers and sisters are out there hurting. They're standing just to have some resemblance of equality, simply because the color of their skin. I'm not that into bingo right now. Now, I know that I'm going to have some conversations with some of them, but let me tell you what would have been so powerful if one of my neighbors reached out and said, hey, with all this going on, how are you feeling? How are you doing right now? Is it affecting you? To me, that's powerful. Now, to those of you who are watching, there are people in your life right now who need to get that phone call from you, who need to get that text, who need to get that video, Marco Polo, whatever that is from you. Hey, with everything that's going on, you need anything? How are you feeling? Things are not business as usual. Don't expect, let's say for instance, you're working with someone. Don't expect them to show up on Monday and act like everything is hunky-dory and everything is fine and okay. It's not. Maybe their temper may be a little bit shorter. Maybe they may not be as engaging as usual. Maybe they don't want to talk. Embrace that. Embrace what they're going through may be hard for them, or maybe they just can't process it. Don't you dare turn around and say something like, oh, well, someone's not having a great day. You know what? Because I feel like I'm a threat to this society when I go outside the door simply because of something I was born with, the color of my skin. How would you feel? Real talk. So, y'all, those are the things that I want to give you, and I hope that this has been helpful. Sometimes it's just about taking one action. And it's it's amazing that the one action I'm about to speak about is Rosa Parks. All Rosa did was she didn't give up her seat, and it sparked this revolution. Sometimes all it takes is one action. The work that I've been in, I've been doing it for years, almost 20, y'all. I'm getting up there. Whew. There was a young man who I met named Austin. And Austin, even though we haven't talked in some time, and I mean, I met him when he was a sophomore in high school, and now he's like married and he's an actuary, and like he's a full legit like grown adult. And at that time, I was a speaker and an MC for an event called Illinois Leadership Seminars, and he went through. And I knew him, we connected, but not really until like the following year when he came back. And he and I, we had this conversation, and he explained to me his experience of his first year. And his experience of his first year, he said, and he's a white male, he says, Arik, my first year, I was paired up to share a room with someone who was black. And he said, instantly when I saw my roommate was black, I hid my wallet, I put things up, I just made sure if anything was touched, I would know about it. And he said, Arik, over the weekend, it bothered me. I haven't even met this guy before. We've never even talked. Why am I doing this? Why am I acting like this? And that sent him on this journey, his journey of awareness, and realizing that he had certain privileges that his fellow counterparts did not. And in him realizing that, he took this journey of just really bringing awareness and shedding light on so many things. He taught me a lot. This is an opportunity to do the work of awareness. This is the opportunity for you to take a moment and ask yourself, if you're black, what do I need to be seeing, and how can I make a difference for generations to come? If you're white or another race, the awareness can be, what do I need to see for myself where my colleagues who are not my race are not given the opportunity, the same opportunity? The most powerful people in this world are the people who are aware and they're educated about what they're aware about. I'll say it again. The most powerful people in this world are people who are aware. People who are looking at the situation, and they're not looking at it like, why are they rioting and blah, 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 and why are they doing all? No, they're asking, okay, what has driven it to this point for them to riot, to loot? 9 times out of 10, it's not even us who's doing the riot and the looting. We're doing the peaceful protest. What do I need to see? What happened before this? Because I'm telling y'all now, the only reason why it has blown up to this point is because we're at a point where we're like, how many more lives need to be lost in order to realize that something ain't right? So, here's what I ask you for. One, Start doing some self-reflecting, get some awareness. 2, educate yourself around that. Start reaching out to those people in your life who you even for a slight second think may be affected by this. And here's the thing, I'm not saying that you only have to reach out to people of a different race. Reach out within your own race. Hey, how is this all affecting you? Because we're not having enough conversation about this entire situation. We're not. So, with that being said, everyone, thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday afternoon to be here. Thank you so much for just hearing what I have to say. I'm going to try to figure out how to post this up on my IGTV and other places, but with that being said, you all listen. It's up to us. Have those important and hard conversations because they're needed. Peace, y'all. Thank you for your time.